What's up, gearheads? Welcome back to Muscle Legend Drive. The 1970s gave us some legendary cars, but let's be brutally honest. It also gave us some absolute design disasters that looked like they were styled during a fever dream. Today, we're ranking the 12 ugliest cars from the grooviest decade in automotive history, starting from mildly offensive to absolutely eye-bleeding. Number 12. 1970 Ford Thunderbird. The 1970 Ford Thunderbird starts our ugly list. And honestly, it's here because Ford decided to stick a giant beak on the front of what was previously a non-offensive luxury cruiser. The late 60s T-Birds were decent-looking cars that minded their own business. But then 1970 came along, and Ford's designers apparently said, "You know what this car needs? A nose that could cut through concrete." That massive protruding front end made it look like the car was constantly trying to smell something unpleasant in the distance. The emphasis should have been on thunder, not bird, but Ford gave us something that looked like a prehistoric pterodactyl trying to park at the country club. It wasn't the ugliest thing on wheels, but it definitely started the decade's trend of questionable automotive styling decisions that would haunt us for years to come. Number 11. 1970 AMC Gremlin. The 1970 AMC Gremlin looked like two-thirds of a car because, well, it basically was. AMC took a normal car design and apparently ran out of money, time, or inspiration halfway through the rear section. The result was something that looked like it had been in a horrific rear-end collision that somehow improved its appearance. Truth be told, the Gremlin was corporate genius, cheap to develop and right for the times, but did it have to be so aggressively ugly? The abrupt rear end made it look like someone had taken a hacksaw to a perfectly good car and called it a day. AMC actually considered an even shorter version that design chief Dick Teague said was uglier, which is terrifying considering he approved this rolling embarrassment. The Gremlin proved that sometimes being practical and affordable isn't worth sacrificing every principle of automotive beauty known to mankind. Number 10. 1970 Porsche 914. The 1970 Porsche 914 proves that even the Germans can create automotive disasters when they try too hard to be different. It's difficult to design a well-proportioned mid-engine car, and Porsche definitely didn't crack the code with this awkward creation. There's something deeply disturbing about the 914's proportions. That huge expanse of space between the B-pillar and rear wheel makes it look like it's constantly stretching to reach something just out of grasp. The awkwardly swept-back greenhouse and super square bodywork created something that wasn't just dorky-looking, but had completely accepted its dorkiness and made peace with it. We're not saying dorkiness is always unappealing, but a Porsche should be styled like a car you dream about, not the disappointing reality you wake up to every morning in your driveway, wondering what poor life choices led you to this moment. Number 9. 1974 Ford Mustang II. The 1974 Ford Mustang II represents Ford's attempt to downsize the legendary Mustang, but the real visual crime was the luxury Ghia model. Someone at Ford apparently thought any car could be improved with the addition of opera windows and padded vinyl roofs, which is like thinking you can improve pizza by putting pineapple on it. Technically possible, but morally questionable. It was one thing to shrink the Mustang, but attempting to give it a luxury vibe with a formal roof and color-coordinated bumpers was nothing less than automotive sacrilege. The fact that they lifted the hubcap straight from the Granada was just insulting to anyone with functioning eyeballs. The Mustang II was a strong seller, but we're convinced this was despite its appearance, not because of it. This car proved that sometimes downsizing means downstyling, and downstyling usually means downright ugly. Number 8. 1972 Subaru GL Coupe. The 1972 Subaru GL Coupe happened when Subaru's designers decided to try stylish instead of their usual sensible, and the results were spectacularly awful. Our theory is that the GL was just a little too long to fit into the shipping container, so someone grabbed a hacksaw and cut 8 inches off the tail, slapped on a bumper and some taillights, and shipped it anyway. The proportions were so wrong it looked like a normal car that had been in a terrible accordion accident. Japanese automakers were making steady progress with smart, efficient cars, but this thing looked like it was designed by someone who had only heard cars described over a bad phone connection during an earthquake. The GL Coupe proved that when practical car companies try to be sexy, The results are usually more embarrassing than a dad dancing at a wedding. Number 7. 1977 Datsun 200SX. The 1977 Datsun 200SX happened when Nissan looked at their reputation for building reliable, attractive cars and decided to completely destroy it with one spectacularly ugly design. By the late 1970s, Datsun had earned respect with handy economy cars and brilliant sports cars like the 240Z. And then they created this automotive abomination that looked like it was designed by someone with a serious electric shaver fetish. That front grille appeared to be directly influenced by personal grooming appliances, which is never a good look for anything with 4 wheels. The 200SX was supposed to be a rear-drive sports coupe, but it was too slow to be sporty and too thirsty to be economical. What it excelled at was rusting with admirable speed and enthusiasm, which means thankfully few survive today to assault our retinas with their offensive styling. Number 6. 1970 Buick Riviera. The 1970 Buick Riviera represents one of automotive history's most dramatic falls from grace. The second-generation Riviera from 1966 to 1969 was breathtakingly beautiful with racy lines and inboard hidden headlights that made grown men weep with automotive joy. And then 1970 happened, and it takes a moment to appreciate just how spectacularly ugly this transformation was. Probably because our minds have defensive mechanisms against extreme visual trauma. The grille looked like it was sliding down off the front of the car in slow motion. The skirted rear fenders appeared to be growing over the wheels like aggressive automotive mold, and the whole body was bloated like something that had been floating in a lake for too long. Riviera sales, which had been steadily climbing through the late 60s, dropped faster than a lead balloon when this bastardized blob hit showroom floors. Mercifully, it was replaced by the controversial but beautiful boat-tail Riviera in 1971. Before we get to the truly hideous stuff, make sure you're subscribed to Muscle Legend Drive. We've got 5 more automotive disasters to roast, so smash that like button if you're enjoying this brutally honest countdown. Number 5. 1975 AMC Pacer. The 1975 AMC Pacer was marketed as the first wide small car, but it should have been called the first car designed to make you feel like a goldfish. AMC's concept made for cute commercials, but it also made for a seriously unattractive and uncomfortable driving experience. The Pacer's massive glass area was supposed to give drivers better visibility, but instead it made them feel like they were being boiled alive in their own transparent bowl, while everyone outside pointed and laughed. The rear taillights looked like they were designed with a cake frosting spatula by someone who had never seen an actual car before. The Pacer got even uglier in 1978 when AMC fitted a bulging hood and stand-up grille to accommodate an optional V8, making it look like it had developed a serious automotive tumor. Poorly conceived and even more poorly executed, the Pacer was the car for dorks before dorks were cool, except it was never cool. Number 4. 1974 Bricklin SV1. The 1974 Bricklin SV1 was Malcolm Bricklin's attempt at building his own car, and it was terrible in every conceivable way, including visually. This safety vehicle had gigantic bumpers, front and rear, that made it look like it was wearing automotive armor to a formal dinner party. The gun-slit windows in those oh-so-1970s turbine wheel covers belonged on a custom van with free candy painted on the side, not on a supposed sports car. Assembly quality was so abysmal that body panels would warp before they were even attached to the chassis. The hidden headlights preferred to stay hidden permanently, and the cars leaked like they were made of cheesecloth during a hurricane. The 90-pound gull-wing doors would bend or break under their own hydraulic actuators, and the electrical system was so buggy it regularly trapped owners inside. Ugly to look at, ugly to own, and ugly to remember. That was the Bricklin experience. Number 3. 1975 British Leyland Princess. The 1975 British Leyland Princess is proof that the Brits could create automotive disasters that transcended mere ugliness and entered the realm of existential horror. Originally introduced under multiple brands because apparently no single marque wanted to take responsibility for this abomination, the Princess was an awkward wedge-shaped nightmare that looked like a hatchback but wasn't. making it both impractical and unattractive simultaneously. The trunk space was accessed through a tiny lid that could barely accommodate a briefcase, let alone actual luggage, which made it useless for anything except disappointing its owners. The Princess looked like it was designed by someone who had only heard about cars described in fever dreams by people who had never seen one. Shortly after its introduction, British Leyland collapsed and had to be nationalized, which surprised absolutely nobody who had seen this rolling disaster on the roads. Number 2, 1977 Liata Caballero. The 1977 Liata Caballero represents what happens when someone with more enthusiasm than talent decides to improve an already pitiful car. Donald Steinbach took the miserable Chevrolet Chevette and somehow made it infinitely worse by slapping 350 pounds of Bondo and fiberglass onto it, creating a Frankenstein's monster that combined the worst aspects of multiple automotive genres. He attempted to give it styling cues from the Monte Carlo, which is like trying to make a ham sandwich look like filet mignon by adding more ham. The result was something so aggressively ugly that it actually hurt to look at directly. Amazingly, he made nearly 100 of these abominations, including pickup truck versions that somehow managed to be even more ridiculous. The fact that he named this disaster after his wife should have been grounds for immediate divorce proceedings, and his subsequent financial ruin proved there is some justice in the universe. Number 1, 1974 Sabring Vanguard City Car. And the winner of the ugliest car of the 1970s goes to the 1974 Sabring Vanguard City Car, the automotive disaster that single-handedly destroyed the reputation of electric vehicles for the next 4 decades. If you've ever wondered how electric cars got a reputation as glorified golf carts, this abomination is your answer. The City Car literally was a glorified golf cart with a 2.5 horsepower motor that was later upgraded to a whopping 6 horses. The body looked like it was shaped with a wheel of chalk and cost approximately $17 to design. It had a 40-mile range and could accelerate to its top speed of 25 miles per hour in what felt like geological time periods. Later versions added ridiculous bumper extensions that made it look like it was wearing automotive training wheels, which was appropriate because driving one was about as dignified as riding a big wheel to work. This wasn't just ugly, it was an insult to the very concept of transportation and made every other car on this list look like rolling sculptures in comparison. And there you have it, the 12 ugliest cars of the groovy 1970s. Beauty might be in the eye of the beholder, but sometimes the beholder needs to get their eyes checked. Which one do you think deserved the number 1 spot? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to Muscle Legend Drive for more automotive content that might make you question your life choices. And I'll see you in the next video where we'll probably make even more automotive enemies. Until then, keep those legends alive. Even the ugly ones need love.